mic. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Davey Deathray here with a muted mic is what I said while the mic was muted. Hopefully you guys are having a great week and you're all pumped for the weekend here. Guys, we're only 1 week away from the crazy marathon fundraiser that we're doing here on the Davey Deathray channel, and I am so pumped for that. Also frightened because I've never done something quite like this, so we'll see how it goes. Send DoorDash and send adult diapers, if I'm being quite frank. Thank you very much. No, very, very much looking forward to that. You guys are awesome for kicking it over here on a Friday night. Very, very excited to talk about some music this evening because, you know, we talk about horror movies all the time. It's a lot easier to talk about movies on YouTube. You don't necessarily have to show the movies to be able to talk about them, but with music, if people are unfamiliar, it's a little tougher. But we're kind of combining the two here. And I've noticed folks, you know, asking for this in some of the live streams and talking about it. And there have been times where we talk about music, but I know you guys have been asking for a specific stream where we jump in and we talk about horror, you know, soundtracks and scores and everything that we love. And I've got an awesome guest this time around. So I'm going to roll out the red carpet for the guest here in a second. But really quick, I just want to remind you guys about a couple of things. I've got my affiliate link for In Search of Darkness 95 to 99 pinned in the chat. If you're into horror documentaries, if you love nerding out, which I know you guys do, but if you want to pick up a copy of that documentary, if you use my affiliate link, it helps the channel as well as the great folks over at Creator VC. So that's there for you. And yeah, the fundraiser, I just want to mention it one more time. It's going to start at 1 p.m. Eastern on Friday, October 24th. I just reached out to St. Mary's Food Bank earlier this week, and what's really cool is they're going to put together a customized donation page for the event, which is awesome because we're going to be able to do a live track of the money that we're all raising for the food bank. So it's going to go to a great cause. Those folks have been helping feed families in need in the Phoenix area since 1967. So really excited about getting this going. It's the first time we've ever done anything like this, like a kind of like a charity sort of thing or a fundraiser. I want to do one every Halloween and every halfway to Halloween. And then, you know what, if we're fortunate enough to have the community and the channel keep on growing, then we'll just add more and more, and we'll start having a little more fun with who we reach out to for those fundraisers. So heck yeah. I'm going to say what's up to everybody in the chat, and then we're going to get rolling with the task at hand here. I can't think of anything else, but maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. You guys know me. It's like, you know, randomly I'll remember something. Oh, you know what? Really quick before I say hi to everyone, thank you to all the Patreon members, all the YouTube channel members, and of course, our amazing group of Death Squad mods. You guys are awesome. You guys, I mean, every single one of you, whether you're watching live or watching after the fact, contribute so much to the community. The folks that are Patreon members and channel members and the mods, just, you know, I thank you so much for doing, you know, just going above and beyond. We got Tara Brewer in the chat talking about, the Casper soundtrack. All right. I'm going to star some of these. So what I'll do, guys, is I'll say hello to everybody. If you bring up a specific score or soundtrack, I'm going to star it, and we'll come back to it later. It'll be fun to see what you guys are, you know, loving on. And yeah, if you're watching live, let me know your favorite horror soundtracks and scores, especially if you've got one that's kind of like a deep cut or one that you don't hear people talk about very much. I'm sure we'll mention a couple of the big ones here, but we'll see what we'll get into. And then, yeah, if you're watching after the fact, jump into the comments and yeah, just go ahead and feel free to rattle off, you know, all of the great horror movie soundtracks and scores that you can think of. And why. I'm curious to know why as well. We got King Matthew III. What's happening? Chester Franklin Jr. Ashton Luck. How are you doing, Ashton? Jay Beach is in the house. How are you doing, Jay Beach? We got our great channel member, Davey James, or Davey Jones, as he's known in the Discord. Yeah, we've got a Discord, guys. It's really fun. It's free, and it's a great way to just keep building that sense of community and building those relationships in between streams. We have Amanda Mendoza. What's happening, Amanda? Did you change your screen name already, Amanda? Oh, no, you haven't changed it yet, because I saw that. Spoiler, I saw it. We got Linda in the chat. What's happening, Linda? Great to see you. I hope I hope you're ready to start the weekend off right as well, Linda. Thank you so much for jumping in. There she is. There's Trash Box Mandy. That is just, oh, I don't know what to say. I think I like it though. I do. I think I like it. All right. Who else do we have in here? Some guy named Davey, Deathray, whoever that is. We got Todd Bound in the house. What's happening, Todd? We got Allie Girl. What's happening, Allie? So good to see you. And I totally skipped over this, guys. Trash Box Mandy is one of our great channel members. So I just wanted to say what's up. Give a little shout out there. Let's see who else we got going on in here. Maybe I'm all caught up. We got Gene Whitacombe in the house. How are you doing, Gene? Always a pleasure. We got Matt Facci from Facci's Cinema. What's happening, Facci? Hope you're doing well, Matt. Matt, what's your favorite, other than the obvious, what's your maybe like I don't know, like one of your deep cut or low-key favorite horror movie scores? I'm curious. Seeing a couple more that I'm just starring those. All right. Who else do we have in here? Jason from Backtrack Cinema. What's happening, Jason? Yeah, Psycho, man. So influential not just the music, I guess in every single way, but the music also as well. We got Dean Renner, one of our great Patreon members, channel members, and Death Squad mods. How are you doing, Dean? So great to see you. Popping in before you start work. Well, say hello to all the fine ladies at work for us there, Dean. Hope it goes well for you. All right. Yes. I guess spoiler, yeah, I mean, it's all over the thumbnail. So, yes, it is Daniel from the Cobwebs Channel. Thanks for just cutting the legs out from under me, Facci. Oh, man. Now I'm going to have to try extra hard to roll out the red carpet. We got Gory Tiger in the house. What's happening, Gory? So good to see you. Joel from Dark Room Reviews. What's happening, Joel? Always a pleasure. And Todd brings up another good one there. We've got a whole bunch of great recommends in here, or favorite scores and soundtracks. So, yeah, guys, it's been a little bit since our guest has been on the channel. I went back and checked. I'm always curious, because time... Oh, the older you get, man, the passage of time is very, very tricky. And then I think, I don't know, maybe our guest Daniel from the Cobwebs Channel can attest to this. But I think when you're creating content, and probably at the clip that he's creating content, time is even more wild than it is if you're just like doing the Monday through Friday 9 to 5 kind of life or whatever. But yeah, Daniel was on the channel back in July of 2024. For Late Night with the Davey, episode 11, and now we're in like the mid 60s, so it's crazy to be like, oh my gosh, episode 11, that was so early on. And I'm super pumped to have Daniel on for couple reasons. I love his channel. I mean, the way that he talks, it's like off the cuff. Maybe he scripts things out, I don't know, but it just seems like an amazing stream of consciousness kind of mind that this guy has. The content is great. It seems like every video there's just as much passion and knowledge and energy into one video after the next. And if memory serves, I think he was at about the 40K sub mark in July of 2024, and he is right on the cusp of hitting 92,000 subscribers. So somebody who is doing it the right way. And not only that, but Daniel is a musical theater kid. So I'm a big music nerd as well, having played in bands since I was like 13 through my mid 30s. So I'm like, who can I have on here that's going to be a great guest, somebody I haven't had on in a while, and somebody who knows their business when it comes to music. And so yeah, guys, put your hands together in the chat for our guy Daniel from the Cobwebs Channel. What's happening, Daniel?
Hey man, thanks for having me. I'm very excited to talk about this. I've had some requests to do like ranking my favorite scores in a video, and I don't know how to talk about music really. So this will be like tough. A practice run. We can help each other.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I tell people all the time, like, music is my number one passion as far as like the arts go, but movies, they're right there, but it's just so much, it's infinitely easier to talk about movies on YouTube, and be able to show little bits, but most like people know what you're talking about. But yeah, with music, it is tricky to get around it in a way where you can actually show something or show people something they haven't heard before. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, I love music, but I wouldn't say I'm like particularly knowledgeable. So we'll see how this goes. I'm curious.
So really quick though, before we dive in, I would imagine the folks in the chat and anybody watching after the fact, if they're in this part of the YouTube sphere, that they know who you are. So guys, if you don't follow the Cobwebs channel at this point, I just want to let you know there is a link down in the description. Daniel's channel is fantastic. Do you want to tell people a little bit about what you do, and maybe if you've got something? I know it's spooky season, we're all creating content like crazy, but if you've got something special coming up that you want to share with folks.
Yeah, sure. So over on the Cobwebs channel, basically I do list videos. So I do 2 every week, every Sunday morning, and then usually every Wednesday afternoon. Occasionally it's Tuesday afternoon. But yeah, they're lists. They're usually recommendation lists. Sometimes they're ranking lists, talking about at least 10 movies, sometimes more. It's mostly horror movies. This time of year, it is all horror movies, but I do go outside of that sometimes. But when I do go outside of it, it's still usually older movies. So I'm usually talking about old school stuff, pre-2000s. I'll talk about some modern stuff sometimes. And yeah, so it's very positive because I've yet to do like top 10 worst movies or anything. So it's always like best of recommendations. As far as plugging an upcoming video, I just filmed a video today on my top 30 horror part 2s, specifically part 2s, and like ranking them from worst to best. So that was fun. I think people are going to enjoy that one. Or
Hell
hate
yeah.
it. Hate the order. We'll see how it goes.
They're like, when is this guy gonna get negative about stuff? And I love that about your channel too. That's something I think we talked about when you were on last time, is you're like, are there bad movies, or are there just movies that you enjoy in a different way? There's like, because there is some entertainment value to be found even from movies that are technically bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think for me, bad means something different. So for me, like, bad does not mean in a technical way, because I can like a movie and it has bad acting or something like that. Bad for me is usually like boring, or it's going for something that it just does not hit at all. So like, I don't want people to misunderstand. I watch movies and dislike them. I just usually don't talk about them on the channel, not really for any principle sort of way, but just it's just the kind of videos I make. They're usually recommendation lists, so that's just kind of how it goes. I'll tell you, I do have a list ready. I have a list ready to go that I've made of my top 10 worst horror movies, and I've just yet to pull the trigger on it. So I don't know when I'm going to film that or anything, because I've noticed whenever I do get negative, the comments just get more hateful. And sometimes I'm like, I just don't want to deal with it. Like, I just don't want to deal with people getting so angry at me.
Yeah. Yeah, it is one of the, like, there's enough doom tubers out there, right? Like, we all see it.
But sometimes I do watch a movie and I think like, and I think it's bad. I don't like it. And I'm like, I feel this urge to talk about it, but I don't know what kind of video that would be where I would talk about it. Because you can't really put out a video like 10 movies I don't recommend. I guess you can, but I don't think people would care to watch it.
Yeah, I guess you could always do like 10 movies that people love that I just don't get. And you're like, you're doing like the Billy Crystal, like, what do I do kind of thing, Yeah,
like, that one, Cinemassacre did a video about that. And it's
that's exactly
massive,
what I'm
but
thinking.
It's like millions of views.
Yeah, well, if James Rolfe touches it, it's gonna do pretty well. Even that odd period there on Cinemassacre still did relatively well, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead,
man.
I was just gonna say, Wander This World 97 says that you made him a bigger fan of Paul Naschy. I don't even think I really knew who Paul Naschy was until watching your videos.
Yeah, I just found out about him because of one other YouTuber that I was friendly with, and I just found out from him because he recommended it to me, and I just got hooked on his stuff because, that's the kind of like bad that I like, because like I think he succeeds what he's going for. Like, he's going for a trashy, smutty, gothic horror movie, and that's what it is, and I think it's entertaining. Although he has bad movies, I will tell you, some of them are not good.
I get what you're saying. Like, the boring is bad, and then sometimes there are just movies where I know exactly what they're trying to be, and they succeed in being that. Like, they're not like this high art or like high cinema, but it's like, oh, this movie is like, it reached the goal. It knows, like, like the movie I just recently watched for the very first time, the VHS art frightened me as a child. Dolls from 1987.
Oh yeah.
And then I watched it and I was like, this movie's so adorable. This is like a great gateway horror.
I love
like
Dolls.
I can't even believe this movie's rated R. It's like a Tales from the Crypt episode that's just like a little bit longer. And I'm like, there's so much to love here. But it's not like I wasn't sitting there like shaking in my boots over Dolls. I just really had a good time.
It's not that kind of movie. Yeah.
Yeah. However,
Dolls is like one step above Casper, who I saw somebody else was talking
yes.
about.
Yeah. Tara Brewer's mentioning Casper in there. So yeah, you've got a little bit of that, musical theater background. So I am gonna, you said you're not like an expert or anything, but you're a fan, right?
Of music?
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
All right.
You know what's sad is
then you're an expert. If you're a fan, you know what I mean. It's just like that's how we become experts in music, is just by listening.
Yeah, and like my dad is a huge music guy, and he played in rock bands through the 80s and stuff. So growing up, if dad is home, music is playing. Like he's never in the house and music isn't playing. And I'm
nice.
much like that unless I'm watching a movie. But lately I get to listen to my music less because now my son has this little toy box that he plays music out of, and he's playing music out of it all the time. So he's like taking over.
So he's taken on that trait sort of. It went from your dad into your son there. So he's gonna be in bands and everything. You can just expect that.
He's obsessed with like cute little novelty Halloween songs at this point.
Oh, sweet.
Because he has this little box that you can put a toy on top of and it'll play music. And I got a custom one of these toys and I put a bunch of Halloween music on it and gave it to him. He's obsessed with it. He listens to it like all the time. It's like Monster Mash and Spooky Scary Skeletons and that kind of stuff. That
is awesome. Yeah, that's incredible, man. Yeah, I caught the music bug early on in life. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was it might have been like the Great Balls of Fire, that movie with Dennis Quaid. Really weird
Jerry
movie
Lee
to
Lewis.
watch when So that really like got to me. And then cool. I was born in the early 80s, so by the time I was in like 4th and 5th grade, it was like Nirvana and Guns N' Roses was doing their Use Your Illusion thing, so I just like became totally obsessed. But you had said backstage that you had grabbed some physical releases to talk about some music. I'm curious to know, and I guess I saw somebody asking in the chat, what's the difference between the soundtrack and the score? I guess the soundtrack can include the score. I guess I just use both words just because, one is more like needle drops, like the soundtrack is kind of the needle drops of the movie, and then the score is like the composed, instrumental music for the film. So I'm curious to see what you got for us, Daniel, because you have seen so many more movies than I have. So I'm waiting for you to wow me here. What is a pick that you've got pulled? I know all the pressure in the world.
I pulled a lot of deep cuts, to be honest.
That's totally cool.
And it's not physical releases of actual music. It's just movies where the score is my favorite. So, the greatest horror score of all time, I think, is Halloween. And I just went ahead and grabbed, I think, the 3 best of the series score-wise, which is Halloween, Halloween 2, and the 2018 Halloween, which Carpenter did the score for all of these. And I think these are the peaks in just in terms of score. But I always say that Halloween is my favorite movie score that was not done by John Williams. Like, technically my favorites are John Williams, but if you're looking outside of him and in horror specific, that's the peak. But that's about as obvious as you can get, right? Pretty much.
Sure. Yeah, I think there's a handful of obvious ones in horror. People usually talk about, like, we had Psycho come up. I've seen other, a lot of lists include like The Exorcist is on there. Halloween.
Yeah, I grabbed Exorcist.
There you go, Tubular Bells.
The score might be like my favorite thing about The Exorcist, because this is a movie that, we were talking about like movies that everyone loves, but I don't. I could almost say that about The Exorcist, but like I really like The Exorcist, but it's not one of my favorite movies of all time. And like I put out a video recently on my top 100 horror movies, and The Exorcist wasn't there. A lot of people were mad about that, but it's like, it's not, that doesn't mean I hate The Exorcist. It's just like, it's just not my favorite. But the score, I think, might be the best thing about it for me. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on The Exorcist. I think it's good, but it doesn't really move the needle too much. I don't know what it is.
I'm just not that into the demon possession genre. And I think this is the best one. but it's still like the best version of a thing that I'm not really that into.
Yeah. And for me, it's like when they try to be like grounded and like religious, I have an even less interest. I want it to be wild, like the Evil Dead, you know, like if I'm going to watch a demonic, like demons or Evil Dead.
I forget to include that, but yeah, it is. That's
because it's almost like its own thing. Like there's just there's no rules in Evil Dead. It's like whatever the Deadites want to do, they do. And there's no reasoning with it, really.
And like Night of the Demons or Lamberto Bava's Demons, like that's kind of a different kind of demon possession, but that's the kind I like better, honestly.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let me see here. So you've got, so on the topic of Halloween, I don't think you picked anything wrong there. I do want to just also pile on and say, I think the soundtrack, and I know a lot of people don't like this movie, Halloween Ends. I'm going to just say a little something for Halloween Ends, because I think that you could argue that the scores for that David Gordon Green trilogy, that the scores get better as they go. There's something really haunting about it. But not only that, I think Ends has probably the most needle drops out of those three movies. And even though those songs are not really my kind of songs, like some of the pop songs in the middle of the movie, they fit the movie so well. Like I wouldn't listen to them outside of the movie, but I love them so much in the movie, if that makes any sense.
Dude, if you want to praise Halloween Ends, you're in good company. I'm a big fan of Halloween Ends. But I'm trying to remember what songs there were. Like I remember Don't Fear the Reaper. And Don't Fear the Reaper is a song that a lot of people complain it's overplayed in movies. Sure, but it's such a good song, I never mind it. Like I'm always happy to hear that song pop up.
And it's usually used as like an homage to Halloween, because I would imagine Halloween's probably the first movie to use that one in the soundtrack.
That's right. I always forget it's in there, but because it's not loud. It's just like in the car when they're driving. Yes. But you're right. Yeah. It is in there.
And I think most of those needle drops in Halloween Ends, other than the song that opens up the Midnight Monster Hop or whatever, and then the Don't Fear the Reaper.
I love that one.
There's a few pop songs in there that I think are modern. I don't even know who they are. There's like Corey and Allison on the motorcycle together. There are just moments where I'm like, wow, this movie in yet another way is kind of standing out amongst these three, you know? So it's not just the story, but they're also finding other ways of standing out. I'm going to see, I saw a couple in here. Let me see. We got Jigsaw's joining us. What's happening? Jigsaw, Adrian James, Leanna Bevy Rage, the lovely Miss Bevy Rage in the house. How are you doing, Leanna? JG Michael says Final Destination has a good soundtrack. Watched it last night in theaters. And the John Denver references. No way that was intentional black humor.
I would love to see that in theaters. I bet that would hit so good.
Yeah.
Theatrically.
I missed that one in theaters, but I had a lot of fun with Bloodlines in the theater, which also has a fun, soundtrack there, especially during that premonition scene as well. So I know I don't really have like a guided meditation for this conversation, but have you seen something? I can think of a couple movies this year that have exceptional soundtracks. I know you could probably guess what one of them would be. But have you seen anything recently where the music really stood out to you in horror?
It would have to be Sinners, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so especially in terms of soundtrack, because like that's a vampire movie, and vampires is my favorite subgenre, and yet probably the best scene in that movie is a musical sequence. That like going through time sequence with the different kinds of music. I thought that was amazing. I mean, I got chills in the theater watching that.
Yeah, I think that speaking of musical theater, when I watched Sinners the first time, I'm like, this is like one or two songs away from just straight up being a rock opera.
Yeah.
And then I was like, the
Irish music too is so good.
They're kind of all over the place with it, and it fits so well. And I'm like, man, I could see this movie like being turned into like a Broadway musical within the next like 5 to 10 years. Like it's that kind of thing, There was another one that I just saw where the music really stuck out to me, and that's Black Phone 2.
I just saw Black Phone 2 last night,
and I thought the movie was okay.
I love the movie.
I wanted it to be maybe a little more condensed, I think is what I wanted. Like a
It
little
is slower.
tighter
I noticed
editing.
that.
Yeah.
It takes its time more than I expected it to.
Man, the music though, because I love the music in the first film, and it's actually Scott Derrickson's son, Atticus, who did the composing for the sequel.
Oh wow!
And
cool.
I loved how not only did they have a visual way of showing the dream sequences, but the music totally changed and got really unsettling. And then very beautiful, light kind of 80s synth going on for the rest of the film. It was just one of those things that as I was watching the movie and thinking, well, it's not quite like reaching those way too high expectations I set for it. But man, the music is really driving it home for me in this one.
That's cool. I think I'm the kind of person to where, like, the first time I watch a movie, if I'm really into it, I'm probably not noticing the music that much. And it's more like I'm going to notice the music on rewatches. So having just seen it, I can't really tell you anything about the music. So I'll have to like go back and listen to it, and I'll definitely watch the movie again because I was a huge fan of it.
Yeah, there's so much good going on. I don't want to dissuade anyone from checking out in the theaters. You should always check it out for yourself if you're interested. Don't listen to what some loudmouth jerk like me says.
It also seems to be kind of polarizing. I've heard like Cody Leach didn't like it so much, but Ghost Pirate Entertainment really loved it, and I've just noticed a bit of polarization with it.
Yeah, I think that, like, for me, I was like, man, if it was like an hour 45, I probably would have liked it a lot more.
I can understand. I did notice that it took a long time to get to the grabber, longer than I expected.
Yeah.
I was so on board for the characters that I didn't mind, but I noticed it. I was like, oh, when's Ethan Hawke popping up in here?
Yeah, like Ethan Hawke only had 5 days to be on his schedule for this film. So we
yeah, it was very much like Robert Englund in Nightmare on Elm Street, where he's not actually on screen that much. And yeah, he probably just did it in a few days.
Yeah, absolutely. While we're sort of talking about a vampire movie just a couple minutes ago, I saw Amanda put in here Lost Boys. Definitely one that will always be a favorite of mine. And that's a great use of like the needle drops, I mean the score is great too, but the sound, like the songs that they use.
That's what I associate it more is the songs than the score.
Yeah, that movie has got, man, and vampire movies for me, I dig them. I don't know if they're like really, really high on the list, but man, Lost Boys is one that I always find myself going back to, and it's one like along with Fright Night that people are always saying like these are the two best, vampire movies of all time. But man, Lost Boys has got the soundtrack all over it.
I don't know. I do love Lost Boys. I'm firmly in the Fright Night camp, but I would go with Fright Night even in terms of soundtrack. I think Fright Night, both the score and the soundtrack are really good, like really, really good. There's so much. The instrument that they use primarily for the Fright Night score, it's like an electric violin. I'm not very familiar with the instrument, but I've heard Tom Holland talk about it, and just it has this really cool like 80s vibe to it. It just hits all through the movie, and it's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I think I watched. Fright Night is celebrating 40 years this year, right?
I think so. 85. Yeah, it would be.
So I watched it not too long ago, but I guess I need to revisit it again because I'm trying to like remember. I mean, of course, there's the sequence in the bar. Like I can imagine that music and everything.
Love that scene so much.
Yeah, where it's got, and even I love that what Ali from Friday the 13th Part 3 is hanging out in the club. He's like the bouncer.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah,
shoot.
It's got all sorts of fun connections there. Okay. All right. We're already like rocking and rolling and cruising through some. What's another one that you've got there by your side?
I think this is an underrated one that not people don't talk about enough, but is the Wolfman, the original Wolfman from 1941. So when you're looking at like the original pantheon of Universal Monsters movies, Dracula and Frankenstein don't have scores because they came out so early. Scores did not exist for movies yet. By the Wolfman, it's got a score. And I really think it's one of the greatest horror scores of all time. And it's so good that almost every Universal Monsters sequel that came out after it is just rehashing this score. So if you watch like a late Mummy movie, a late Frankenstein movie, They all have the Wolfman scores. They just keep recycling it. But it is so good. It's like so like grand and epic, but still kind of creepy. See, I don't know how to describe scores, but it is one of my faves.
No, I mean that's a good way to describe it. I think, yeah, because a lot of those older Universal movies they just took pre-existing music, right? And
yeah,
just,
I mean,
you know,
most of them just took this music. So.
Well, and like I'm thinking like Dracula, right, from 31, that just uses like the Swan Lake kind of themes or whatever.
Yeah, for the opening credits, that's the
Yeah.
only music it has. But yeah, it's from Swan Lake. But I will forever associate Swan Lake with Dracula now, because
Yeah.
like that's where I first heard that music was from Dracula.
Yeah, that's wild. Dang, I'm trying to think like digging back to that far back. I don't have one that's that far back there, but I do have one. I think this might be one that you would dig. This is so the composer is Carlo Rusticelli, and the film is Blood and Black Lace.
Okay,
From
Baba. Sure.
Yeah, Bob. I think it's 1961, something like that. I love this soundtrack so much, and I've watched this movie only a few times, but it's one of those movie like anytime I watch a Bava movie, I'm like, man, the stylization with his visuals, but also what he's able to bring in with the music. Like, there's something so kind of sexy about the music in Blood and Black Lace. You know, I mean, the movie's just kind of sexy in general.
Sure.
But I love that that Italian feel. That like it's so funny that even though it's a movie from the 60s, when I watch it now, I'm like, oh, it reminds me of Tarantino. And I'm like, no. Tarantino reminds me of this.
You'll get a lot of that if you watch 60s, 70s grindhouse movies. You'll see so much Tarantino.
Yes. It's wild. It's wild. And that's just something that when I go back to those old, you know, Italian movies, whether they're, you know, Giallos or something like Suspiria, which is a little bit different than that, obviously. Yeah. Goblin, man. I guess we could just talk about Goblin for a minute.
Oh yeah, I love Goblin.
Yeah.
Suspiria is one of my favorite scores of all time. It is. I really think it is one of the creepiest horror movie scores, because it's not even just the instruments, but they also have a vocalist in there just doing the It's really unsettling. It's really, really cool.
That whole movie is just like a nightmare.
It is. Especially like the end is such a nightmare for me.
It's one of those movies where you're just like I think I was in high school the first time I watched it. I was like, I've never seen anything like this. Like, what am I watching? Like, what is happening? You know, it is pretty wild, pretty out there.
It's cool you saw it in high school. I didn't see it that early.
Yeah, and I don't know, like at that age, I don't think I appreciated it enough.
I don't think most high schoolers would, sure.
Yeah, but it was something where I was like, I was really, of course, there's something about the lighting in those Italian movies. They love their blues, greens, and reds and everything. So I was certainly drawn to that. And it was just one of those, like, you know, it's like the cinematic language of Italian filmmakers is just a little bit different than what we do here in the States, you know? So there's just something about it that's just, I guess the word that I usually use is surreal. There's just a surrealism to their level of horror, where even like A Nightmare on Elm Street that has literal dream sequences doesn't necessarily seem more dreamy than something like Suspiria, you know?
Well, in America, we generally make movies for people to pay attention to them. In Italy, it was very much the culture at that time that like people just hung out in movie theaters, and you didn't even necessarily need to watch it. So people would just come and go. It did not matter if you came in start time, left at end time. People would talk, people would make out. So they kind of just made movies to be vibes, to just like be on. And a lot of times like it's kind of like drive-in movies in the 70s that like they're kind of made to be boring because people are making out or having sex during a lot of them in their car. And then you would turn and look when there's like a murder sequence or a sex scene happening on screen. They're kind of like they're made with a different purpose, which makes them interesting to watch them today in context on beautiful Blu-rays in our home theaters, you know?
Yeah, they were made like very simply, just very easy to understand.
Or very difficult to understand, and they didn't care about that.
they're just like, yeah, it's a visual jazz, you know, something like Suspiria.
Kind of.
Yeah. And then I mean, in a movie like Suspiria, the music plays a big role and is kind of, you know, a character within itself, because it's indicating, it's kind of like telling you how you should feel. You know, not every movie does that, but it's really nice when, you know, when the score can accompany the visuals so damn well. Which is one reason why I think, you know, John Carpenter's movies have such a unique, you know, just look and feel to them. Not very many filmmakers are the director and the composer, you know. So imagine being able to control both of those things, like to really be able to kind of direct your audience, you know, in a specific way. And I guess while I'm just blah blahing about John Carpenter, I got to mention The Fog.
Yeah, The Fog is
amazing. Yeah, that soundtrack is incredible. And then I'll mention a movie of his where he didn't do the soundtrack, and I really like it, which is The Thing with Ennio Morricone, which is, I mean, talk about a atmospheric score. I don't know if it gets more atmospheric than that, than what he does there.
You know, the Thing I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It is one of my least favorite scores in a Carpenter movie, and I think it's because it's not Carpenter. So, like, I think I just kind of want a Carpenter score in there. But I do love it. I always forget how to pronounce it. Ennio Morricone. I love a lot of his other stuff. My favorite score from him is Once Upon a Time in the West, like his spaghetti western stuff in general. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's his score for The Thing is certainly different, and maybe
it's very low key.
Very low key, and it's a little noisy. And I think I just like that for me, I think the reason why it works, even though it's, you know, radically different, is that it just does bring an unsettling nature. You know, the same way that the special effects look so unsettling, I think the music is trying to put you in that kind of dirty spot as well, which he kind of does a little, you know, when Tarantino brought him in to do The Hateful Eight, they brought in some of that music from The Thing as well. And so there's a little bit of that vibe there, even though that's not a horror movie, although sometimes Hateful Eight reminds me of Evil Dead and The Thing.
I love Hateful Eight. I think it's awesome.
That's one of my favorites of his, for sure. Let's see here. I'm scanning through the chat here just to see if anyone else has got another one here. Oh, JG Michael says Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula has a crazy score.
I always feel tempted to do stuff like that when talking about scores. Yeah, it's so good. I think that's another score that got reused in like trailers a lot through the 90s. They just kind of pulled the Dracula thing because it's just so big and epic. That is such a grandiose, operatic, over-the-top movie in every way possible. So you've got to have a score to match that tone, and they did. They accomplished that.
Man, that movie is wild. It does feel like it's so cool that we mixing like old school, you know, filming techniques and stuff like that. The way they just mix all that stuff in, because it seems like Coppola brings in some of those like 30s and 40s kinds of effects and just like, you know, let's just do a modern version. Yeah, to do everything in camera like they would have to do like in the silent era. And he even like fired the effects guy because the guy wouldn't do it, and he just brought his son in. So Coppola's son just did most of the effects for it, and I think it's so cool. I love that movie. Yeah, that movie is really good. Even though, you know, Keanu is kind of out there.
I've really just come to terms with Keanu where like he's just part of the fun for me. I don't mind it anymore. But it's not good for sure. I was talking about that movie in a video recently, and somebody commented that they're from, I can't remember what country they're from, but they're from a different country, and they watched the movie dubbed in their native language, and with the dubbed actor, it's fine. So they didn't even like know that Keanu was bad in the movie.
Yeah. It's a weird accent. It's like, I love Keanu as a performer, don't get me wrong. It's just sometimes the performer's not, you know, not right for the job, in at least in my opinion there.
I've heard him talk about it though, and I give him a little bit of I give him some slack, because he said like it was like his third movie in a row without any breaks, and he was exhausted through making that movie. So he may have just been pushing himself too hard as well.
Yeah, trying that English accent. Oof.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We got Sean Fleming is joining us. What's happening, Sean? Blu-ray Addict is jumping in. Garch the Great. Garch, welcome on in. I think this is your first time. You're kicking it with the Death Squad. And Garch says, I'm late and don't know if the original Carrie's been discussed. One of the greatest scores ever. But I recently tracked down the film's mysterious doo-wop song, Lady Lay, and got it released.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen Carrie. I'm struggling to think of the score here.
I love Carrie, and I also can't remember how the score goes. I would have to watch it again.
So that's what, it's funny. You were mentioning like sometimes you don't notice the score when you're really, digging the film and everything. There are times where I'm like, oh man, I don't even like know if there was music in that movie, even though I try to pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I usually have to see it again to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Unless like the movie is boring me and like at least I can pay attention to the music to try to engage my brain. But that's not a good scenario.
There are certain things like, did you see there's a movie that came out, a little bit of a smaller movie called 40 Acres that came out this year? Have you heard of that one?
I'm not familiar with it.
So I think it might have been shot in 2024 or something, and it just finally got a theatrical release. It's a Canadian production, and it's kind of like a siege movie where it's like, there's been an apocalypse and there's like a group of cannibals and these people are trying to like live off the grid and just make do, and they're very isolated. But the soundtrack was really guys, for the folks hanging out in the chat, if you haven't seen the movie 40 Acres, you got to check it out. But the soundtrack was really percussive in like a non-traditional way, just sort of like sounds that they collected and used to sort of kind of not a robotic kind of sound, but just almost like a mechanical kind of sound. And it just stood out to me because I'm like, I usually don't that kind of music usually doesn't resonate with me, but the way they did it just matched the visuals so well.
Cool.
It's always so interesting when I guess certain composers just kind of have that sensibility, where they really watch the movie and they can match what they're doing with what's going on screen in a really meaningful way.
Did you like the movie?
I did. I really liked the movie. Yeah, it's kind of got a little bit of that bunker kind of feel, even though it's not technically a zombie movie. It's got a little bit of those themes, and it's just sort of like kind of in like a Romero-esque sort of way. It makes you ask those questions of like, what's more important, like just surviving to survive, or surviving and still trying to like make something out of life? Like is it worth risking like truly living a life? Is it worth risking some terrible things happening, or should you just be isolated and shut off from the world? So great performances. I really dug the movie, and a great soundtrack. And holy cow, Sean Fleming's dropping Christine, which I love. Hadn't even thought of that one. What a soundtrack.
Yeah, it's epic. The main theme is so awesome. Like I love to just listen. I'm sure you probably do too. Those the John Carpenter anthology albums.
Yes.
Where he's just kind of like, it's like all his greatest hit themes, and that re-recording of the Christine theme is like fist pump music. It is so awesome.
That whole soundtrack, especially even the like the show me scene, kind of like sort of looked at as like the sex scene. Yeah. With the flare, the lens flare, and everything like that. Yeah, there is, man. That might be the best Stephen King adaptation, at least in my opinion. Christine.
Oh, okay. I can't go that. My favorite's Pet Cemetery, which there you got the Ramones song. So that rules.
Yeah. But no, Pet Cemetery is a really good one. Yeah. Good call. Good call, Sean. Let's see. Speaking of John Carpenter, I'm going to say that like 15 times during this stream. Even his Lost Themes records, where I think the first couple Lost Themes were music that he never got to put in movies that he was working on. So they re-recorded them. But now it's just him and, Cody and Corey, who he did the Halloween soundtracks with, and they're just like making original music now. It's incredible stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's another one you've got over there? Do you have another one, Daniel?
Yeah, this is, I think, the scariest movie score I've ever heard, and it's Robert Eggers' The Witch. I remember, like, back in college, I went through a phase where I would, like, listen to horror movie scores a lot while I was studying, and sometimes I would put on The Witch, and I would have to turn it off, because it is so frightening. It, like, oh, man, it's the best. And I feel like it's been, like, insanely influential too, because ever since this movie, you hear like the off-key violin sounds with like A24 kind of movies all the time. And I think that kind of started with this. This is the first time I remember hearing it a lot. And this is another one kind of like Suspiria where it uses some vocals too. I feel like that's where I find music the creepiest, is if you got vocals in there. And it does have the like, it's pretty creepy.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think that you can bring in a totally different level of unsettling nature. That's like the Halloween Kills theme. I don't think they ever did it in the other two movies, but in just the standard theme for the movie, they do those really disturbing like like little creepy kind of voices that have these little minor melodies that they're working into the main theme there. So there is something about that. I'm looking up the okay, so the guy that did Mark Corvin, who did The Witch, he also did The Lighthouse, but he did the very first Black Phone movie, which I think has a fantastic score as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, he did the Until Dawn video game. I'm just kind of the first Omen. He did that one as well.
That makes sense, because I remember thinking the first Omen's music sounded like The Witch. There's a lot about the first Omen that reminds me of The Witch, but that tracks now.
Yeah, that's what's fascinating too, is because not every composer has that big name like Nine Inch Nails doing the Tron soundtrack, or in these certain people that we just know, John Williams, John Carpenter, all that kind of stuff. But then when you start to see a little something where you're like, oh yeah, this person is quietly like building up this really impressive resume, because The Witch is freaky as all get out. One thing that you're kind of, I don't know what it was, you said something about the Witch's score that reminded me of the When Evil Lurks that came out a couple years ago.
Had this great movie.
Really interesting, like I don't know if it was like plucking violas or cellos. I don't think it was quite violin, but there was something just real, like in stereo in the theater. It was just so disturbing and added this whole level of creepiness to that one. That movie had a grounded creepiness about it for how wild it was.
Yeah, that's
visually.
A disturbing movie. I really like it. I've only seen it once, so I don't remember the score too well. I also didn't see it in the theater, which is too bad. I should have gone out for it. Because that's a crazy movie. That came out, I think, the same weekend as Exorcist Believer. And like, man, what a difference in possession movies right there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it was the same year as Evil Dead Rise. Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So possession folks were eating good that year. When I saw When Evil Lurks, I was like, this reminds me of like if Christopher Nolan or somebody like that did an Evil Dead movie, because it was like trying to live in the real world. You know what I mean? Like it's doing what it can, but it was visually stunning and just shot so beautifully. And
yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, we have a question here from I can't call you Trash Box Amanda. It just sounds so mean. Curiosity question: what elements scream scary or creepy in a score for everyone? I know a lot depends on the scene itself, but I think certain elements heighten that anxiety more. It sounds like vocals for you, Daniel, or is one of your trigger points there.
I think so. I think also if it sounds really old, that will be scarier to me. Like if it's got very classical kind of instruments, because like I love a synth score, but I'm probably never going to find a synth score scary. For me, that's more fun, because I think especially because it comes kind of from computers, there's like a familiarity with it. But I think if it sounds like very old, I also think in terms of soundtrack, I think about Tiny Tim's Tiptoe Through the Tulips from Insidious. That is a really, really creepy song, and it sounds like 1920s kind of style.
Yeah, Tiny Tim's stuff is pretty creepy, just in general, right?
Big time.
So classical stuff. So you're talking more like your like Psycho, or even like, the Harry Manfredini stuff from the early days of Friday the 13th even kind of reminds me of Psycho. Is that what you're talking about? Kind of orchestral strings?
No, I think so. I think in terms of like the scariest music in horror movies to me, I think usually comes from folk horror or satanic horror. So I'm talking like really old, like probably pre 1900s kind of feeling. Like another one I grabbed is The Omen, which maybe has like the second scariest horror movie score to me, and it just has the most satanic sounding music where it's like it almost sounds like a choir of monks, but in like the darkest way. But it sounds ancient. I think that's where I find music the creepiest.
I'm glad that you brought up The Omen, because that's a Jerry Goldsmith composition.
Yeah.
And man, he is all over. He's he's all over everyone's favorite movies, horror and outside of that. But yeah, not only, bringing that creepiness to The Omen, and he's credited on the sequel as well, but the original Alien, he did the music for Alien. Psycho 2, Gremlins, he's all over the place.
Gremlins got a great score.
Yeah. Poltergeist. So it's like, but but then
I
he
can't
also
believe the Poltergeist score isn't John Williams. It sounds like John Williams.
Well, and I think, Jerry Goldsmith, he's probably kind of right. They're like contemporaries pretty much,
Yeah.
There's like a few of those guys. There's like Alan Silvestri, John Williams, and Jerry Goldsmith that probably did like 70% of movies from like the 70s through the 90s. I would imagine, because Goldsmith is all over the place. I'm trying to look for something. He passed away in the early 2000s, so I'm trying to see. He did even The Hollow Man. He did that back in 2000. So yeah, he was, cooking until the very end there.
I've never seen Hollow Man. Still haven't.
I haven't either. I know about it. I just haven't seen Elizabeth Shue, Kevin Bacon, creepy invisible man kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, Kevin Bacon, he's never stayed too far away from horror, has he?
No, yeah. He's great. He has a really interesting career if you look at all the stuff he's done.
Yeah, he does whatever he wants. He is like...
Pretty much, yeah. He seems cool. He seems like a cool dude.
Yeah, he's one of those people, and I know this has nothing to do with the topic in hand, but he seems like one of those people that's a genuine fan of film. And,
I agree.
And especially a genuine fan of horror. I feel like he's always kind of talking about it and touting it, so I really dig hearing that.
Speaking of Kevin Bacon and the soundtracks, I don't know if you ever watched the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special on Disney Plus, but Kevin Bacon is in it, and he sings an original Christmas song, and it is now one of my favorite Christmas songs, and I always have it on my Christmas playlist.
I have not seen that, but now I have to check it out.
At least I really like it, but if you don't like Marvel stuff, you may not care, but I would recommend Kevin Bacon's song in there. It's great. Okay.
I mean, I like the Marvel stuff just fine. Like, I think like anything else, it got a little oversaturated and samey at some point, but that's what's going to happen. So, Amanda, to answer your question, I think the things that make it scary or creepy for me are those minor key melodies. Obviously, I think that's something that a lot of people kind of resonate with. But even like, because I just recently watched Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. I've just been going through the whole franchise, and there's one theme or melody that gets used a few times in Halloween Kills. And it's really rapid. It's like a circular kind of melody that's really rapid and minor key. And it just makes, I don't know, it's like bugs crawling on my skin kind of feel. So those are the things that kind of work for me. But I also really dig those like Italian scores, like what is it, House by the Cemetery, stuff like that. The Fulci scores and all that. Just the instrumentation that they use has kind of like a spooky feel and a sound to me.
Fabio Frizzi.
Yeah, Fabio Frizzi. And I don't know if you grew up playing video games, Daniel, but I'm a huge Castlevania fan, and I love the music for those.
I was brought up in a very religious household, and I was not allowed to have video games.
I remember you saying something about that the last time we chatted. Yeah. Well, and you turned out great, by the way. So I think your parents did a knockout job.
I don't mind their decision now, because now I'm not that into video games, and it allows me time for other things.
Absolutely.
I don't mind it.
Yes. And I guess we do live in a day and age now where it's like, if you're curious about a video game, you could just pull up a video and watch somebody else play it for a few minutes.
And
You
I
don't even
have dabbled.
to...
I had a game system for a little bit, and I played a few games. I just never got that into it, but I've enjoyed some. I really enjoyed like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order because I love Star Wars and I kind of liked exploring the worlds mostly.
Yeah, no, that's like the cool thing about, you know, the more immersive games like that. And I think like with me, you know, I'm the fifth of 5 kids. We had an old Atari in the house, but then we also got the Nintendo. And I got into, specifically, I went over to a neighbor's house and played Castlevania back in like 87. And that was like the same exact time that I started falling in love with like the Universal monsters. And I was like, you know, checking out books at the school library about that stuff. And then Castlevania has like all those characters. It's very reminiscent of, it's like Universal meets Hammer is kind of like the style.
Cool.
And speaking of Hammer here, we have Susan McDonald jumping on in. Welcome in, Susan. I think this is your first time. You're kicking it with the Death Squad.
I recognize her from my comment section.
Heck yeah. Well, and Susan brings up, so she brings up the original Halloween, which is like you had said, Daniel, that's just like, that's the 101, you know? If you don't love the Halloween score, you can just get out, I guess. But Sleepy Hollow, man, talk about like a Hammer horror influenced film.
Yeah, I love the score for that movie.
Yes, yeah, the score and the look, and what an amazing cast. But like a lot of Tim Burton movies, the music really does become a character in something like Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, and speaking of Hammer, I did grab one Hammer movie. Definitely my favorite score for a Hammer film is Horror of Dracula, which does kind of remind me of the Bram Stoker's Dracula score. It's kind of maybe like the OG version. But the story that I always love about it is the melody came because the guy who did the music, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he basically he thought of the syllables Dracula. So the main theme is dur, 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 and he thought of it as Dracula, and it just like that like banging hits every time Christopher Lee comes on screen, and so good, awesome.
I love, that's such a great story. It's so funny how, yeah, because we do, like, I don't know if you're that kind of person. I'm the kind of person that if I hear a melody enough, I'll just start assigning words to it.
Oh yeah.
I don't even.
My son is like that so far. He does that a lot.
Yeah, I can't keep myself away from it. And the one that I can't keep out of my head, it's terrible. I don't even want to say it on here. It's nothing like rude and inappropriate, but it's the Universal theme. The bum 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 bum.
Yeah.
What I always think of in my head is, everyone's dead. Everyone is dead. I don't know why.
It's like the Barney. You know, I hate you, you hate me, let's kill everyone or something.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember that from childhood.
I don't know why those words popped into my head. I don't know. I guess that just, you know, is one reason why I talk about horror all the time on YouTube.
Listening to a lot of heavy metal or something, man. A lot of dark lyrics.
I don't, or maybe it's just that I associate that music with the beginning of the Halloween movies. So I'm just like, Michael's just killing all these people. Everyone's dead. There you go.
Oh, I did want to ask you, speaking of metal, and you keep bringing up Halloween Kills, and I love a song from Halloween Kills, but I think it's technically just in the end credits. But Ghost song, Hunter's Moon. Are you a fan of Ghost?
So I've only checked out like a couple songs, but I have a lot of friends who are really into this band.
Yeah, I really love Ghost, and they have a great song on the Halloween Kills soundtrack.
Ghost, Hunter's Moon, you say?
Yeah.
I mean, I know the song from the movie, but I should listen to it out of context,
Yeah.
I think.
I think it's just in the end credits, so you
Okay.
may not have paid that much attention to it.
And I think, punk rock is like my bread and butter, and then like there's like the metal, like I love, I probably love like REO Speedwagon and stuff like that more than I love a lot of metal bands, but I love specifically like thrash metal, like Megadeth is like, I think they're the kings of metal, it just like that to me is as good as it gets. But then I also really love the operatic stuff like King Diamond. I don't know if like his stuff's really fun and really beautiful.
I'm actually not that much of a metal guy, but Ghost I feel like is like beginner's metal, you know, it's like very melodic, and I tend to gravitate more to melodic music than like yelling music.
Sure. And I think like anytime, I know when I say this word, sometimes it sounds like a dirty word, but Ghost is pretty pop. Like
they are, yeah. They're a poppy version of metal.
Yeah, when you have that,
remind me of the Beatles sometimes.
Oh, really?
They have like they have this one song called Ritual, and it's about a satanic ritual, but the sound of it sounds like a Beatles song to me. So it's a very interesting mix.
The arrangement and composition, that kind of thing?
It's more the melody. It's just a really melodic song, almost like Lennon McCartney wrote it.
Okay. I've got that one highlighted here along with to go back and check out Hunter's Moon as well. But yeah, when you see these bands reach this wild success, I'm like, well, there's a reason why, right? There's something very appealing to them. Yeah. MacArthur Park, classic. And they use that in Beetlejuice. Did we talk about the Omen soundtrack? Yes. Probably right around the time you asked about it, Saucy Jack. Because I'm so far behind on the chat here. Let me play a little catch up. And let me see if there are any others. Fachi says Tremors is Kevin Bacon's best. That movie's got some fun music right there.
It is a great movie.
Tremors is a blast. I mean, there's no better love letter to like the Roger Corman era of drive-in movies.
I've said before on my channel, Tremors is a perfect movie. I think it's one of those movies, like, for what it's going for, it could not have done it better. Like, everything worked.
I agree. Yeah, and it's got the perfect tone. It's Jaws in the desert. It's so great. I mean, you can't go wrong. We need more Tremors. Good. Yeah. Oh my God. The effects are just, yeah. Tremors is so good. Why'd you have to bring it up, Fachi? Now that's all I can think about. Let's see. I'm grabbing a couple more. Oh, we had mentioned Goblin with Suspiria, but holy shit, Dawn of the Dead, man.
Yeah.
What a fun soundtrack. Just, I don't know. I think the soundtrack to Dawn of the Dead is one of the reasons why it, for a lot of people, will never get knocked off the list of like either greatest zombie movie or their favorite Romero zombie movie.
Yeah. It's my favorite zombie movie. Yeah, it's weird that Goblin did it. It's the Italian connections of Dawn of the Dead are strange because it feels like an American movie, but it did have Dario Argento influence, and then Goblin did the music. So it's kind of an interesting mix. Great movie.
Yeah, and it's got like even the look of it too, and maybe that's just the 70s of it all, you know. But
sure,
man, the fact that Romero wrote that in like 2 weeks, you just never like these things don't happen in movies anymore. Like now when people make movies, it seems like it takes years for it to like happen, you know, but it was like almost on a whim, you know. Dario's like, hey, do you want to come stay in my place in Italy for a couple of weeks and just write your movie? And George is like, okay, I'll bring like a truck full of cigarettes and a truck full of coffee, and that's all I'll need. I'll write this movie. And then there you go. Yeah. And now it just seems to take forever. But yeah, the Goblin soundtrack too. I think one of the reasons why it's so good, coming from like the standpoint of somebody who played music, is it is like math rock. The melodies, not only are the melodies catchy, but the time signatures are really odd. And there's something like kind of unpredictable about them. You know, there's that one song that's like it's just like got this very like random kind of feel to it, very percussive, really, really beautiful. And then of course they do crazy tracks, like they've got a song that's totally like ragtime, you know, like Western sort of ragtime.
Is that the pies in the face scene?
Yeah. So they're sort of just like kind of having fun, and you know, it's very playful in parts, and it's just something that, I don't know, seems to fit the scenes very well. Dawn of the Dead, like you were saying, there's all this odd Italian connections to that movie, but man, it really is like the perfect storm for an all-time classic, you know. Just something that would never happen nowadays, and never even happened very often back then.
Sure. It is a very interesting like mix of tones, and that's why like the score being that way, like you mentioned, really works.
Yeah.
It needed like a lot of different things going on. That's one thing that makes it how it works so impressive is like it's long. It's kind of an epic. It goes over a long period of time. It has a lot of different kind of feelings through it. And it all flows. It is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's one of the first times I saw Dawn of the Dead for the very first time on VHS. This was like back when it was really difficult to find this movie. And I grew up in this tiny town in Southeast Alaska. There was one video store that had a copy of it. And my friends and I rented it. I must have been 17 years old. Not long after I saw Night of the Living Dead for the very first time. And this movie broke my heart. Like when Roger got bitten, I was seriously like pit in stomach. Like, no, there's gotta be a way they can like make him survive. It was like, I felt like, I think that's one of where some of my like kind of slow burn appreciation came from movies like Dawn of the Dead. Cause it's like, you get to know these characters and you get invested that when everything starts falling apart, like you feel like you're there with them and you feel like you're losing somebody that you've grown to love, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's the length of Dawn of the Dead, I think works in its benefit because of stuff like that.
Yeah, and because you're kind of watching people build their own civilization. And it kind of goes along with what you were saying about that movie 40 Acres of like, you know, they build life and then they kind of reach a point of like, what are we living for? Like, why are we still doing this? And then that's another tone change, and then it all goes to hell. So
there's a shot in that movie where it's like David and Fran, sorry, I said David. That's the actor's name. Steven and Fran have just gotten done making love, presumably, and he's just like slouched over, or she's slouched over. He's sitting there like smoking a cigarette. They're like not even moving as the camera backs away from them. And it's like, they are like the mannequins that are in the mall.
Or they are the zombies.
Exactly. Yes. Like they are just like, this ain't living, you know, this is cease to be living. And then on the flip side of that, we got Return of the Living Dead, which
classic soundtrack.
What a soundtrack. I mean,
you're a punk guy, so it's gotta be perfect for you.
Yeah, it's great. Like, Do You Want to Party's fantastic. It's a really fun, just like raucous time. I mean, I don't even know what to say that hasn't been said about the soundtrack to Return of the Living Dead. I think it's one of the best parts about the movie. I'll say that. Because not that I dislike the movie or anything, but I think if it didn't have that kind of edge, I don't know if it would be like as memorable as it is without such a great soundtrack.
Well, to kind of look at like what it would be from the other perspective, I recently on my channel talked about Return of the Living Dead Part 2. And I talked about how like it's kind of like Return of the Living Dead is the punk rock movie, and Return of the Living Dead 2 is like the mainstream 80s suburban movie. And the soundtracks kind of reflect that, where the soundtrack's a little bit more 80s poppy. And they do have very different feels, where the first one kind of feels more like dangerous, and the second one almost feels like a kid's movie, even though it is rated R. And I still like it, but it's not the first one.
Yeah, there's not that edge there. There's something about it. It just sort of fits the time too. It's that's an interesting franchise right there, Return of the Living Dead.
Very different movies through there, yeah.
How are you feeling about that Legacy sequel that's coming up?
I couldn't care less, honestly.
Even with Devon Sawa?
Is he in it now? Oh, and like which one? Okay, there's the one that those Kill Her Goats guys are making, and then there's the Trash's Revenge one that Linnea Quigley is making, right?
This is the non-Linnea Quigley. Yeah, I don't even understand. That's going to be interesting to see how that goes. How that all.
Yeah, I don't know. I hear a lot of people talking about these, and I'm just like, I don't think these are going to be any good, and I don't particularly care. I mean, I haven't watched Return of the Living Dead like 4 and 5, those like direct-to-video sequels, because I hear they're horrible. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to watch this one either.
You know, the series is just sort of like fun for what it is, but yeah, I think after 3, it's a very, you know, no one really talks about those movies.
Yeah, I love 3. I think 3 is pretty special.
Yeah, they're those first 3 are really fun. Yeah, I saw what did I see pop up here? Ooh, American Psycho. That's a great needle drop.
I remember the Huey Lewis. I don't remember anything else. But yeah, I love Huey Lewis. So that's great.
Krista Berg, Lady in Red, they use that one. He's like kind of like meditating in his office, listening to it. Yeah. God, American Psycho is a friggin' wild time. I was looking up Tyler Bates because I really like his music from particularly Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I'm one of the weirdos that really likes that movie.
I do too.
Dude, you love Halloween Ends and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
I
ones are married, you know? It's like, what?
I tend to love the weird Halloween movies. So like the weirder the get, the more I'm a fan. So like 3, 6, Rob Zombie's 2 and Ends, those are the weirdest Halloween movies.
Yeah.
And I'm a fan of all of those.
Yeah, I'm sort of like, well, I can always have that regular experience if I want. They're like half of the movies are like the regular Michael thing. But yeah, sure. Curse has been climbing up, especially the producer's cut has been, climbing up my list. And I love a little bit of that weird. And so Tyler Bates, he did the I think he did both of the Rob Zombie films, Halloween films, other than of course the score that was already there. But there was another one that I was looking at here that he had done. Gosh, where did it go? Oh, he did X and Pearl and Maxine.
Oh, cool. I honestly can't remember how those scores go, but I do love the moment when they sing Landslide by Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a fantastic scene.
And what's cool about that is the scores kind of go the way the movies go, right? So the first one had for X, it's more of that 70s kind of influence. And then with Pearl, it's old timey. It's like whisking you away with like the Wizard of Oz kind of vibes, of everything.
Yeah.
And then of course, man, Maxine just really drives into that 80s feel. So it's cool that he was able to compose all of those and be able to show off his flavors. Cause I recently watched that. Well, I actually recently watched the X trilogy, 4 months ago for the very first time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of it. Like, it's so difficult to even rank those movies because they're all so good.
Cool.
But Pearl to me seemed like the most like stylized and like the greatest achievement of all of them. Like,
sure.
Just the way it looks, I was like, oh my God, this movie's so vibrant and beautiful. Recently watching the Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 and just really paying attention to the music this time around, I'm just like, man, this guy is very talented. And he's gone on to do a whole bunch of stuff for Marvel as well. And the John Wick movies and everything like that. So he's the new,
cool.
he's becoming the new Jerry Goldsmith or Alan Silvestri.
Cool.
Well, let's see here. We've been talking for a little bit over an hour. I know I told you about an hour. So I don't want to sit here and, take up all of your time on a Friday night, but I want to make sure we're not missing any mentions that you wanted to throw out there before we say our goodbyes here. And then I'll also check the chat and see if anything else pops up here.
Sure. Whoa, you got a heck of a super chat in there.
I saw that. Oh my gosh. That must be the Pumpkin King.
Rearing
his head. Holy cow, the Pumpkin King dropping in with a $49.99er. Says nice. Davey, hope all is good, my man. Everything is great, Pumpkin King. We've missed you around here. I was like, man, it must be very busy for Pumpkin King at work. So thank you so much for the gracious, awesome super chat, man. But also just missing you as just part of the community to chime in and and talk shop with all of us. So I hope all is well with you and yours, and that you're able to, be able to soak in some of the spooky season since you are the Pumpkin King. I know it's a busy time of year for you. But thank you for the $49.99. I'll just leave that up there. And Daniel, let me know what else you got. Ooh, you have a cute kitty behind you. Oh my gosh.
Oh, there he is. That's Poe. So
Poe?
Speaking of Poe, a very original name for a black cat.
I love it. It's so great though.
So for the Halloween season, for score, Trick or Treat. For soundtrack, Trick or Treat.
Ooh.
Great classics. I love that. I love that. Fastway, I believe, is the band soundtrack for Trick or Treat. So fun.
Oh yeah. No, it's really good. Damn, I wish I thought of something like that. God. You bastard. You did that.
I was honestly just looking around. I was like, that's my Trick or Treat box set over there. I was like, oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, what's the other one I just recently watched? What's the other, Oh my God, what the heck's this movie called? Black Roses. I
I've
know
still
it's
never seen it.
I don't think it's
I hear
set
it's
around
good.
Halloween, but it's got a similar, rock and roll kind of vibe. A great double feature with Trick or Treat. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta check out Black Roses. I always hear it's good. I also hear about Rocktober Blood. I haven't seen that one either.
I don't think I've seen that. Rocktober Blood. All right.
Yeah, I have at least one buddy who's really into that movie, but I still haven't seen it.
Oh, from 1984. Holy cow. Interesting. Okay. All right. I'm gonna add that to the list. My list is like frighteningly long. It's I'll never be able to finish it. Davey James loves the Black Roses soundtrack there. Yeah.
Cool. Ooh,
Illuminated Pro.
Candyman. That's didn't Philip Glass do that score?
Let me take a look, because man, yeah, those early 90s horrors have such a different kind of feel, don't they? Like
they do,
91 through 95.
Yeah.
Something they kind of got this like sexy sort of thing going on.
Mm-hmm. Candyman has a lot of that. Yeah, it is Philip Glass. Yeah, that's a beautiful score. Candyman's cool because it's like, it's a 90s slasher movie, but it does have this like very classy, almost like gothic kind of feel to it that I really love.
Yeah, such like stark lighting and yeah, just a really that like kind of love story that, the victim like being, oddly in love with the quote unquote villain or the villain that's very
type character, I think.
Yeah, he's very alluring, very seductive. That voice, right? That Tony Todd voice. Can't, who could say no?
I got to see that in a theater a couple of years ago, and man, his voice just booms. It's so good.
Yeah, he's man, what a treasure. What a great way that they were able to send him off in Final Destination Bloodlines.
I know. I wasn't expecting that, and they really nailed it.
And that's just one of those things that's like you either got it or you don't. You can't like you can't contrive that too much to have it feel natural and not feel like cringy or forced, but I just thought it was so beautifully crafted and handled. I don't usually cry in movies, but I definitely got, the tingles all over and everything like that in that moment. That's for sure. Good. Hell yeah, man. Well, guys, I wish I could keep Daniel here all night, but he's a successful, busy man with a family, and he's got to get to his video games. I'm just joking. He doesn't play video games. Daniel, I know at the beginning of the show and everything, I asked you what you've got going on the channel, but we have a whole bunch of people here now that weren't there for the beginning. So do you want to give folks a quick little rundown on what you've got going?
Yeah, sure. So the Cobwebs channel, I do list videos, usually horror movies, twice a week. I have an ongoing series, and I'm putting out a new one on Sunday of just like recommending crazy horror movies that are streaming free on Tubi. I call it Bonkers Horror Movies. So I have another one of those coming on Sunday. I just filmed a video on my top 30 horror part 2s. So that's going to be coming like next week. And just twice a week, every week, horror lists, sometimes just cult movie lists, not always horror specific, but yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, guys, if you've not checked out the Cobwebs channel, you are missing out. I am going to predict something wild here. I think Daniel's going to cross 100,000 subs, not even just before the end of the year. I don't know. I got a feeling, Daniel. I think you're going to cross. I think it's going to be before Thanksgiving.
I have a very similar prediction. I think by the end of November. So we're basically, that's what I'm guessing.
It's this snowball effect. And guys, for when you missed, rolling out the red carpet after Facci cut the legs out from under me. Actually, I did that myself with the thumbnail, or Daniel did it with the thumbnail when he made the thumbnail look better. But when Daniel was on the channel just over a year ago, about 15 or 16 months ago, there's just been so much exponential growth, and that just speaks to the quality of the content over there, and not just the quality, but it's like we're talking about the passion and the knowledge and the energy. At any time you watch one of Daniel's videos, you're not going to be like, ooh, he was having an off day, or oh, Daniel must be sick. Like, nope. It is like, hey, it's like you walked into a video store in the 90s and the guy walks up to you and starts telling you why you should rent every movie in the store, and he can tell you the whole story and why he's so excited about it all. So that's the kind of vibe you're going to get over there. If you haven't already subbed, I highly recommend that you do that. I know everyone's saying goodbye in the chat, but guys, I might hang out with you a little bit longer because I miss and love you all so much. But we're gonna let Daniel, fly into that great night. Go listen to some music with his son. Go get some Monster Mash on.
Oh, my son better be asleep right now.
Oh shoot, you're right. I keep on forgetting about that. I know nothing. I don't have children. I am a child. I'm my own child. So I'm not even my own grandpa. I'm just my own child. Yeah, man. So happy for all the success you're having over there.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
I love seeing it, not only when it's somebody that's that's just a nice guy, but somebody that's so passionate and awesome with what they do. So yeah, super pumped for you. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend here, and we'll have to have you on, gosh, I don't know, sometime in the new year. We'll give it a little bit of time to breathe, but I'll bug you the next time, because guys, originally we were going to have Daniel on for the fundraiser, and then I moved some things around with the scheduling, so it just didn't quite work out. That's on me, but I plan on doing one of these for halfway to Halloween, so at the very least I'll be bugging you for that one. So
that sounds good.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time, man. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. Give all of our best to the fam, and hope you have a great Halloween as well.
Thanks, man. You too. Talk to you later.
Take care. Yep, you got it. All right, y'all. Holy cow. Yes, I am going to kick it for a little bit because I just, like I said, I miss and I love you guys so much. I don't usually go live on Friday nights anymore, so maybe I'm just being selfish. Maybe I'm just being greedy. But yeah, let's see, because I also know that whenever I have a guest on, guys, we get so caught up in that conversation, and I know that you guys understand it. Like when you have a guest on, you're just going to pay a little more attention to the task at hand with that conversation. But then also I'm like, man, I'm seeing some really good stuff in the chat, and I just want to interact with you guys because it's something that's so important to me over here on the channel, just talking to you guys and keeping up with everything. So yeah, I don't know. Let's keep on talking some horror movie soundtracks if you want to, or if you want to talk about something else. That's right, I am here for the long haul. So yeah, I do go for it, and I'm gonna go until 4 a.m. The Godzilla theme is great. Yeah, I mean, what about when they brought it back in certain moments in that Godzilla -1? They bring it in, modernize it, but they really, man, that theme is cooking. Hey, you're all good, Erica. Hey, Erica, you let me know when you're ready to play Terrifier over on the Discord. Is that still happening tonight, Erica? Let me know. I think that's what's happening. Eli, what's up, brother? That's what you said is what's up, brother, and I'm just copying you. We just got done chatting with Daniel from the Cobwebs Channel about, scores and soundtracks that we love and horror films, and I just want to keep on hanging out with you guys. Antonis, I think the Bride of Chucky soundtrack is so perfect for that movie. I would say with Bride of Chucky and Freddy vs. Jason, they're both Ronnie Yu films. And I do appreciate that Ronnie Yu's got such a style that really is like his own. And one of the things that works into that style is the use of the soundtrack, because you could almost put the soundtracks to Bride of Chucky and Freddy vs. Jason as a double bill with each other. I'm trying to think of like the score side of Bride of Chucky, and I can't think of too much of the score that stands out to me. But yeah, the soundtrack is like a late 90s, early 2000s new metal mixtape. Sorry, Matt. Hey, you didn't miss the whole thing because I'm still kicking it. I am still kicking it. And yeah, here to hang out with you guys. So if I missed, so during the discussion, if I had missed something, a movie that you guys want to talk about, a soundtrack that you want to shine the spotlight on, just go ahead and let me know, and we'll chat it up. I love the Monster Squad. I could watch that movie once a week for the rest of my life. It's true. It's true. Good horror soundtracks. 28 Days Later, High Tension, and The Hills Have Eyes remake. Damn it, I've only seen one of those movies. 28 Days Later. It's been a while since I've seen 28 Days Later, but I do, I like the movie, and I do remember enjoying the soundtrack. High Tension, I've heard so much about. I've heard The Hills Have Eyes remake is better than the original. And then even, we talked about the original Dawn of the Dead with Goblin. the Dawn of the Dead remake, while I don't remember like the score very much, the soundtrack is really good, right? Like you've got the Richard Cheese version of The Sickness. You've got, I think it's in the elevator, there's like the Muzak version of I'm All Out of Love. Is that the song they used from what are they called? Air Supply, I think. Yeah, really fun soundtrack there. Let me see what else we got. Valerie and Her Week of Wonders. I've never heard of that one, Illuminated. Rosemary's Baby. Another movie I haven't seen. I know I'm just the absolute worst. I'm a total fraud. But The Shining has a great soundtrack. Very, very eerie. I think that Kubrick always did a great job at picking the music for his movies. Instrumental music, and then, of course, the stuff like Singing in the Rain from Clockwork Orange and all that. Okay. All right, so there we go, guys. That's the announcement. Once this stream ends, we're going to hop on over to the Discord, and Erica is going to show the original Terrifier. So that's definitely a Halloween time movie, a Halloween-themed movie. The first two movies are. So if you're not part of the Discord, here's the really cool thing. It's free. Totally free. And when we do watch parties over there, you don't have to bring up your own copy or put your 4K, even though some people do like to put in their own copies. That's totally fine, but we're going to broadcast it right there for you because there's no copyright kind of restrictions over there on Discord. So if you're not part of the Discord group, the link is in the description below. Phantasm has great music. And yeah, the Exorcist theme, really, really good stuff. That was the first or second movie that Daniel had brought up, the Exorcist theme. Yeah, Halloween 3, another Alan Howarth and John Carpenter banger. Yeah, top 5 Halloween scores. Yeah. It is, I think Halloween 3, it's like that movie and Christine feel so similar to me. The look of the movies and the soundtracks as well, or the scores. Yeah, Susan, I have not watched the Monster Squad yet this year. And what's funny is every now and then I'll do a poll on the channel where I'm like, hey, what do we want to watch for the watch party? I've probably put the Monster Squad in a poll, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, 4 or 5 times. It never wins. And I'm always thinking, oh, the Monster Squad's going to win this time. It's one of my favorites. When I was a kid, I rented it on VHS at least once a year, So, yeah. I will definitely hop in and hang out for a little bit for Terrifier. I do want to get to some pre-recorded stuff tonight. But yeah, I will hang out for sure. So, and the cool thing too, guys, is when we do watch parties over there, no one's on camera. No one has their microphone on unless I forget to turn my microphone off. But we do communicate in the chat, which is optional. You don't have to have the chat pulled up if you don't want to, but it's really fun, and get to see a little bit of a different side of everyone's personality in there. So yeah, I quite dig it on the Discord. I love hanging out there. I love the Jaws soundtrack. Yeah, the John Williams music is so good. I think it works in every single one of the movies, even though not every movie's great in that series. And especially I would say the first 2 movies, because Williams did come back to compose the music for the second film. So they used his themes in Jaws 3 and Jaws the Revenge, but I don't think he actually did the music himself. They would just use the themes. But he did come back for Jaws 2 and contributed more. So it's just kind of like an extended cut of the soundtrack. Demons 1 and 2. Oh yeah. Yes. Oh my God. I still need to see the sequel, Eli, but we're going to do a special Movie Punks episode. Gosh, I think this week or next week. I need to get on that because the idea is to have Bill Frickenstein from the Everscathed on with Foz and I, and we are going to do a bona fide watch party. So I know I did that watch party way back when you sent me those movies, Eli. I did the watch party, but it was my very first time. So I didn't get to I watched the movie again a few days later just so I could actually experience the movie, and had such a blast with that first Demons movie. Yeah, I don't care which Bava it is. If it's Bava, I want to watch it. So that's how I am. Anything John Carpenter worked on. Yeah, even the non-horror stuff, you know, Big Trouble in Little China, Escape from New York. Yeah. You know, we all have those movies that are like, have totally been in blind spots. Even the classics like Rosemary's Baby. Like, yeah, I haven't seen everything, guys. But the stuff I've seen, I've usually seen a lot and can nerd out very, very deeply. The Craft is a really good 90s soundtrack. There's a couple other 90s soundtracks. I mean, Marco Beltrami's work in the Scream franchise is really great. I don't find myself listening to that music like outside of watching the movies. And Beltrami's music to me isn't the kind of earworm music like Carpenter's is, where I could listen to Carpenter's any one of his soundtracks outside of the movie. They're just like, they're catchy songs in and of themselves. But I do think that Beltrami's music really helps ratchet up the tension. And it works so well with everything that they're doing within the film. It's just not the kind of instrumental music I would find myself, you know, listening to on a drive or on a walk or anything like that. I'll be watching Terrifier on Halloween night dressed as Art the Clown. Right, Antonis? I believe so. There you go. There's the link for the Discord. Jump on over. Yeah, the watch party chat does rock. We let it fly in there. We let it, you know, I don't think we get inappropriate, but we might get a little saucy, you know, so to speak. With the Monster Squad, try imagining the Goonies with monsters. Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, I'd say better. Nothing against the Goonies. I really love the Goonies. It's so much damn fun. Shout out to Drew Struzan, who just passed away this week. That he did the Goonies poster. Love the Goonies, but the Monster Squad is, you know, a kid that grew up loving, you know, the Universal monsters and all that kind of stuff. Like the Monster Squad it just speaks to me a little bit more. I don't know. What were you doing, Mandy? Were you trash boxing it up or what? He did the main theme for Jaws 3 only. Yeah. And I don't think he re-recorded it, but yeah, they just like used some of his themes and stuff. Alien and Aliens, love both. Yeah. Yeah. Did Jerry Goldsmith come back for Aliens? Let me see. I've got his IMDb pulled up. It looks like somebody else must have come back for Aliens. So of course, any of the music they would have used that was his, he would get credit for. But he was the full composer for, the original. You girl, like sending, it's like echolocation in the chat. The girls are doing echolocation. Are you there? Marco, hello. Marco, hello. But yeah, guys, we don't have to kick it here all friggin' night. We've been going live for about an hour and a half. I just know I wanted to hang out with you all a little bit longer, just to be able to have a little bit of you and me time, you know? It's definitely got a little bit more of that feel that's akin, you know, to Cameron's other work, for sure. Is the grabber still a kidnapper in Black Phone 2? Well, I'm not going to say anything to spoil the movie, Antonis, but yeah, I mean, he's still the same character. So, you know, just like all of the press releases have said for the movie, you know, you get to peer a little bit into the past and, you know, and kind of see, there's some revelations about the characters that we know from the first movie. So, all that stuff is very consistent. So, and then there's definitely a little bit of that slasher Freddy Krueger kind of thing going on. Oh yeah, the Fog score. I think that is a great example of, like, I think The Fog is a really good movie. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoy John Carpenter's The Fog. I think the music is like one of his best soundtracks. I mean, and I guess that's saying a lot because all of his soundtracks are really good, but that is like this time of year, and especially like when I'm out there, you know, like hanging out when the trick-or-treaters are coming up on Halloween night, I love putting The Fog music on in the mix of everything. So of course you got Halloween in there and some of the other John Carpenter, the Lost theme stuff. Guys, if you have not checked out the John Carpenter Lost Themes records. They are so fucking good. I highly recommend them. I want tacos too, Erica. Thanks a lot. Tacos and Terrifier and the lovely Erica. I can think of a couple things that might be able to make your night better there, Trashbox. I don't know. Let's see here. In a great mood. I love it. Okay, so Erica's in a good mood. She's ready to go. Are you guys all going to come join us on the Discord and hang out and watch Terrifier? Bring your barf bag, okay? If you're going to watch Terrifier, if it's your first time, bring the barf bag. Oh my gosh, the baby raccoon story from Discord. Guys, this is what you're missing out on Discord, is just the regular chitty chat, or the yapping, as Erica calls it. But okay, guys, we've been chatting for about an hour and a half. A lot of really good music talk here. I'm so pumped that Daniel from the Cobwebs channel was able to carve out some time during spooky season and hop on over here. What a nice guy. What an awesome conversation, and just so pumped for everything he's achieving over there on his channel. So again, links in the description to check out the Cobwebs channel. If you haven't already, I highly recommend that you do. There's no shortage of great content over there. And thank you guys for chit-chatting with me about, all these great soundtracks and scores to these movies we love. Maybe this is something that we could kind of dip into. How about this, guys? Maybe in a handful of months or a few months, we could do something like this, and we could highlight one of these composers and really go through and have a chat and just have a bit of a love fest. Might be kind of fun to do something like that. So I appreciate you guys kicking it with me. I know there's holy cow, we have about 27 people watching right now. That is amazing for this small channel. I haven't even said it yet tonight because I was so nervous having Daniel on. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content. And guys, if you're watching on your phone, you might notice that there's that hype button there. Holy cow. If you've got the hype points and you're willing to use them on the Davey Deathray channel, find your favorite video that you like that's come out lately, or a video that you think other people, would really, really enjoy. Hype that video, because we're trying to reach 2,000 subscribers before Halloween, and you guys have been amazing about getting the word out there. In fact, right now, let me see where we're at. We are at 1,814 subscribers. So it feels like we're not going to make it to that 2,000 mark, but I'm not giving up hope, and I'm not going to stop trying. So I think it's still possible to achieve that. But the only way we're going to achieve it, guys, is if you're out there hyping the channel and sharing it with everyone. And I appreciate every little bit that you guys do. Clicking the like button, subscribing, all that fun stuff. Commenting after the fact is great too. And then, yes, In Search of Darkness, 95 to 99. If you're going to order that documentary, use my affiliate link. It's in the description. It's also pinned in the chat right now if you're in the live chat, so you can check it out there. And other than that, gosh, I think I'll be back next week. I think that'll be it for me for the weekend. I owe you guys a public watch party of Hatchet 2 over on Discord. So that's coming up. We watched Hatchet, the very first Hatchet, a couple weeks ago. Had a total blast with that movie. Had never seen it before. Had so much fun. So I'm looking forward to checking out the second one. That's going to be coming up sometime soon. And then, yeah, we'll be back next week. It's going to be a wild week, guys. On Wednesday, we're ranking 70 different kinds of Halloween candy. We're going to do a live tier maker ranking. On Thursday, Lito Velasco is going to join us to talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street. We're going to really dive in. He's a huge fan of the franchise, so I'm very much looking forward to that. And then on Friday, we've got the marathon fundraiser. So look forward to all of that. We're going to be going 10 hours on Friday. It's going to be friggin' wild. Next week might just drive me crazy. I don't know. We'll see. If you do, if you're into this kind of thing, pray for me. Pray for my sanity. No, I'll be all right. You guys are great. Y'all are so supportive and awesome. I'm seeing a couple people jump in here at the very end. I just want to make sure not to miss them. We got Arturo Alejandro Trevino said, whatever happened to the movie Gotham Noir? Oh man, that's a very long story, Arturo. I would say if you want to get the most up-to-date information about that, you should check out the Gotham Noir Instagram just for the official word on that. So that's what I would do, is check that out over there. Thank you so much for subscribing, Susan. It was a pleasure having you in the live stream. I hope everyone was very nice to you, although I know they are, because we got the sweetest community here. The whole horror YouTube sphere is so awesome. And holy cow, speak of the devil and he shall appear. We got Bill from the Ever Scathed singing his Trick or Treat song. Yes, Bill, I was actually just, maybe you've been in here for a little bit, but yeah, I was just talking about bringing you and Foz on to watch Demons. Oh my gosh. I know we still have to figure out a time that works for everybody. Foz has got a new job, and I'm training for a job, and Bill has a job that he's very busy at as well. So we're working on it, folks, but we're going to make it happen. So let's see here. It was created, but there was more going on at the end. So I would say, yeah, check out the Instagram for just any sort of information about that. That's where you're going to get that. But yeah, guys, that is going to be it for me this time around. That's lovely to hear, Susan. I hope we see you back another time. Just so you know, Susan, look out, because I go live like 3 or 4 times a week. So hopefully you're into the live streams, because we do that quite a bit here. And yeah, guys, I will be back next week. And for everyone that's looking for the extra watch parties and all that fun stuff, Discord is the place to go. We're going to go over there and watch Terrifier here in just a few. And that is going to wrap it up for me this time around. I do want to highlight a couple things really quick. I've been meaning to do this every time, and I apologize, guys. I've forgotten. I want to shout out Leanna Bebby Rage for dropping the 199 super chat. Thank you so much, Leanna. And then, of course, we had the Return of the Pumpkin King dropping a 49.99er. I don't know why I almost said 4.99. Autopilot, Davey. Stop being on autopilot. 49.99er from Pumpkin King. Pumpkin King must be very, very busy in real actual life, which is great. It's good to be busy. And I hope we see you sometime soon, Pumpkin King, as we ratchet things up and really try to close out spooky season with a bang. You guys are awesome. Shout out to the Patreon members, YouTube channel members, and of course our amazing group of Death Squad mods. You guys are fantastic. I love you all so very much. Make sure the notification bell is hit so you don't miss anything, because sometimes I do a live stream on a total friggin' whim, just whenever I want. So that's probably when you're going to see me next. But until next time, I've been and will continue being Davey Deathray. Take care.